One of my favorite moments on Alpha is right after the talk called How Can I Be Filled with the Holy Spirit? It's part of the Alpha weekend or day away, and it sets the stage for a time of prayer where guests can pray alone, and if they're up for it, have someone pray with them. Over the years, we've heard so many amazing stories where people's lives are radically transformed in this moment of prayer. The word ministry, simply put, means service. So when we talk about prayer ministry, we're talking about serving people through prayer. On Alpha, we have two unique opportunities for this. First, on the Alpha weekend, and second, during the session on healing. In the team training session on prayer ministry, we unpack a simple model for praying one-on-one with guests. This session, however, is specifically for people like you who are going to be leading this time of prayer for the whole group. If you're planning to have somebody else lead this time, be sure to pass along this video for them to see. A few years ago, Ben and I attended an Alpha weekend with our friend John and his group. And I want to walk you through the way that we led the prayer time because it outlines a simple model that you can follow. So right after we finished the talk called How Can I Be Filled with the Holy Spirit, Ben and I got up and told the whole group that being filled with the Holy Spirit is a gift of God for His followers. And then, before we began the time of prayer, we invited anyone that wanted to start a relationship with God to pray a simple prayer of commitment and give their lives to Jesus. After that, we transitioned into a time of waiting on God. We started with a prayer for everyone there and then invited guests to pray along in their hearts. A simple prayer you could pray is, "Come, Holy Spirit." Then we took time to wait on God. And this can be the hard part. When you do it, wait for minutes, not just seconds. And it's amazing how long a minute of silence actually feels. But wait, 1 minute, 2 minutes, even 5 minutes. Wait and see what God might do. And as you're waiting, encourage the guests to open their hearts, to focus on God and to be patient. Some groups like to have music playing while they wait, and others prefer to have silence. The important thing is that people are able to focus and not get distracted. I encourage people to stand in silence and maybe hold their hands out like this as if they're about to receive a gift. And after some time of waiting in silence as a group, we invited hosts and helpers to begin to pray with the people from their small groups. Whenever I lead this time, I let the whole group know what we're about to do. I say, at this point, some of the small group hosts and helpers are going to come around and ask to pray with you. I let them know that if they don't want to be prayed for, they can just say no thank you. And then I reassure them that that's totally okay. Now this prayer time can take anywhere from about 15 minutes to even an hour. So while hosts and helpers are praying for guests, it's great to have someone lead in songs of worship. So here's a simplified summary of the prayer ministry model we just walked through. First, give people a chance to respond to the gospel. Then, explain the first part of the prayer ministry time. Pray for God to fill people's hearts and then wait. And after waiting a little longer, explain the second part of the time of prayer. And at this point, you can have hosts and helpers pray for people in their small group. Now, this time of prayer ministry needs intentional leadership. It takes a bit of preparation, but it's amazing to see all the things that God will do. And all of this stuff that we've been talking about is shaped by a confidence in God and His desire to pour out His love into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. Why don't you take some time right now to prayerfully think through how you'll lead this time of prayer ministry on the Alpha weekend?